So we have with us to talk NHL playoffs, AK from the Millie Goats. How you doing, AK?
Dude, doing fantastic. We're in the midst of just epic proportions here because 3 teams have already advanced, 2 of them being in the Western Conference, which means we've got 3 teams still alive in the East, with Carolina moving on, and we've got the potential to have, 5 or 6 Game 7s? I think 5. Is that what? Yeah, 5 Game 7s, and that is just nothing better in hockey. So that's what we're looking for. Give us all the Game 7s.
And it's only round 1 too. But I
Yes.
want to rip off the Band-Aid with you. I know that your boys are the New York Rangers, so let's just get that over with and talk about that right now. What happened? Was it 2 nights ago in Game 5? The
Oh,
shutout. They
man.
got shut out.
They got shut out. They could not get anything. Now, to let everyone know, here's what happened. The Rangers were up 2-0. You may have heard this before. I think, yeah, you guys have heard this. They were up 2-0. I shaved my beard. Since that point, they've lost 3 in a row. So I think I am solely responsible for the collapse. But I did get a haircut yesterday. So I'm like, well, if I'm doing it, I might as well go all in. So now I'm completely shaven head to toe.
There's not much left to shave.
The beard, yeah. So let's just go all in. Let's just see if that doesn't turn it around. So, yeah,
well, hopefully it will.
They're down 3-2. So New York Rangers. So what the Rangers won the first 2 games 5-1. Sorry, I'm going to go on a little bit of a. They won the first 2 games. The power play was humming, right? Scoring 5 goals a game. Shesterkin has been playing great all season. All playoffs. The Devils, the last 3 games, have made some adjustments. Lindy Ruff, who's known to be a defensive coach, right, has just taken this young team and simplified everything. They said, we are not going to let you skate fast through the neutral zone, which is what the Rangers like to do, right? And they just put everything basically to the boards and said, we're going to play this game along the boards and behind the goal, and we're going to outwork you. And that's exactly what they've done. And the Rangers look completely lost. They've been running the same left side zone entry play to Chris Kreider 40 million times. And the Devils, they let them do it, and then they just collapse on the puck, and the Rangers can't even get into the zone. So it's been terrible.
So I guess the question is, what can the Rangers do to counter what the Devils did?
I mean, the Rangers have to get creative with the way they're entering the zone, because this is not it's a simple thing with young players. They're just trapping them. It's just like a basketball trap, right? Like, you see 2 guys up the court on the inbound, you got to know what to do in that situation. The Rangers have just looked lost. So what they need to do is probably just go ahead and dump the puck in and crank up the intensity on the forecheck, or get creative with the zone entry. Maybe a tic-tac-toe pass it up the boards to the left. Devils are like, they're doing this again, and then shoot it back to the defenseman. And the power play has to get going. Like, there's no question. The Rangers can't get any shots toward the net. Everybody's praising this Akira Schmid guy who they put in a couple of games ago. And he's looked decent. He's very calm and confident in the net, but it's not like he's making great saves. He's just squaring up the puck, and the Devils are not allowing good chances. So it's been hard to watch. Zibanejad's a no-show. Since Game 3, after the end of Game 2, Zibanejad's been nowhere to be seen. Kane has been nowhere to be seen. Kreider, Panarin, Tarasenko, like all these guys, and they just look like they're on roller skates out there. It's horrible.
So what do you think the chances are that they come back?
Oh, they're coming back.
Oh, they're coming back. Okay.
I shaved my head.
Okay.
Like, it's.
How many units
from head to toe?
Yeah, right. I'm completely bald. I'm like Mr. Bigglesworth here.
How many units would you put on it?
Yeah.
Oh, man, that's tough. I mean, I would put a couple at least.
Okay.
Because the thing about it is Shesterkin's playing well. He's what makes everything go. He's going to keep him in games. That game the other night could have been 12-0 if it weren't for him. And that's that. And you'll see later when we get into the Dallas series and some of these other series, the way these goalies are playing. That is, and even with the Devils, they get that guy who comes in there and allows like what 2 goals over 3 games. Like a hot goalie, that can change a series in a very quick amount of time. So,
well, they're playing tonight. We're recording this on Saturday, and they're playing tonight at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. The Rangers are a little bit of a favorite. It's minus 130. So I don't know. That seems like it would be a good bet, a good bounce back bet on that one. But they got to do what you say. They have to counter what the Devils did to them and see if they can switch something up.
right. I mean, the Rangers are, for the more experienced team, the obviously a little bit bigger. They're a little bit older, so they've been here before. So they need to get on them early. They can't get behind. If New Jersey scores early, hammer the Devils because they will suck the life out of that game. If they get up a goal or two early, the Devils, that's what they've done. They just take the air out of the stadium, out of the arena, and they just play keep away. So if the Rangers get going first, then we've got something, because that'll make the Devils have to play a little bit different style. So if I was betting, that's what I would do.
Get out early and possibly a live bet there. You would even go against your Rangers if they fell down early.
From what I have seen, they have just, when they get ahead, they're just 5-on-5. The Devils are one of the best team in the league. I think they might be number 1 in expected goals for 5-on-5 play. So if they get out and the Rangers power plays and firing, if they get out to a lead, then they're one of the best, if not the best team in the league at playing 5-on-5 hockey with a lead. So,
well, if the Rangers do come back, they got to win 2 in a row to come back in this series. They're going to face Carolina in the next round. And Carolina took care of the Islanders. I think that series is 4-2. Do they have a shot against Carolina? Carolina's looking pretty good so far in the playoffs.
Carolina's good. The problem with Carolina is they are down Svechnikov, Teravainen, and Puljujarvi, which are 3 of their top guys. They're in a little bit of a goalie limbo too. Late in the last series in Game 6, they put in Freddie Anderson, and Antti Ranta was playing the first 5 games. So Carolina is a defensive. They're a Rod Brindamore team, right? Rod Brindamore was a grinder. They are a tough defensive, get the puck in, forecheck like crazy. Same thing, similar to what the Devils are doing to the Rangers right now. Now, usually the Rangers play well against those style of teams because they have so much speed, but the Devils have a lot of speed. But the Hurricanes, their penalty kill, I think New York Islanders went 1 for 18 on the on the power play. Unbelievable.
Oh wow.
So but yeah, that series was pretty fun. But yeah, the top 3 guys being out, and then the switching to Anderson kind of gives me a little pause. Is how far can they go, right? Playing that style. They got dudes taking goals off the face, right? They had some dude take one off the chin that went in.
Damn.
Yeah.
So with the Devils, if they close out against the Rangers, do you feel that they match up well against Carolina, especially since Carolina has some guys out?
First of all, how dare you? How dare you? Yeah, I mean, they battled. They were in the top in the Metro all year. I don't know with these. Both of these teams have switched goalies in the series. So that's never a good sign. You're seeing it with Boston too, right? We'll get to that in a minute, I would assume. But this whole, we've got 2 goalies, we can play them both, that doesn't work. And it's never really been done, I don't think, with dueling goalies. So the Devils, yeah, I mean, they're gonna I don't know how high scoring those would get. That would, if I was the Devils in Carolina, the Hurricanes, you might want to look at a lot of unders there, depending on what the betting says, because they play. Yep.
I could see it coming in at 5.5, and yeah, it makes sense to pound the unders on that series.
Yes.
But yeah, let's get into Boston. Boston, I mean, they have been sailing through the season, all throughout the regular season, and then all of a sudden in the first round, like you said, they switch up the goalies. What are they thinking there?
Florida gave them fits in the regular season. There were 2 teams that scored more than 4 goals against Boston in the regular season. Ottawa, the Panthers. And the Panthers and Boston, I believe, split the regular season series. So it was a bad matchup for the Bruins right out of the gate. Like, if anybody they wanted to play, and then they had Patrice Bergeron go out for a game or two, right? And then Omar made a stupid bonehead play a couple of games ago where he skated out, and then Kachuk grabs the puck from him, does a little hangly dangly, and then jams it in the back of the net for the OT winner. And then now you're looking at the Panthers, who started Alex Lyon, I think was what his name is. They have now switched to Bobrovsky. He got pulled in game 3. And Bobrovsky is a dude who's a Vezina winner, who's been there before, who's played a lot of hockey, and he has been brilliant the last few games. The good thing for Boston, they've got Marchand rolling. He's got 10 points. Taylor Hall has really been their best player. He's got 5 goals. So, and then Pasternak, I don't know if you saw his goal last night where he did a little between the legs short side. Absolutely disgusting. So, and then for Florida, Kachuk has 10 points. He's like put the team on his back, him and Bobrovsky. So game 7, anything can happen. Boston, Omar, before they even started, Omar was the question for me, because I'm like, this guy has 1 playoff win, I think, before before the playoffs even started. And regular season is just different than the playoffs. It just is. So,
well, the Boston is favored in that game 7. That's tomorrow night on Sunday. I think they're minus 240 in that one. Do you think that's a good value play, maybe to bet on Florida, since they match up so well against Boston? I think you probably get them at like plus 210, something around there.
Yeah, it just was a bad match. I mean, of all the teams they played in the regular season, Florida gave them fits. I mean, Florida has a bunch of big talent, big skill guys, you know. So, and Bobrovsky's playing well. I mean, he's playing almost as good as anybody right now. I mean, he's given up some goals, but he's made a lot of really good saves, and that you don't want to run into that if you're the best team.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of goals in that series with Boston and Florida. They I think we've had a couple overs on that one, over 6.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of whoever wins that game 7 is going to be facing Toronto or Tampa Bay.
Oof.
Which also has been high scoring. A lot of goals in that series too. What do you think about that one?
Well, that's another potential game 7. So I believe they're back in Tampa tonight. But it's just the same old. It's the Leafs, man. Like, Tampa hammered them game 1, 7-1, and then the Leafs rattle off 3 in a row, and it's like, here they come. and then Tampa Bay wins the other night, and now you're like, oh no, are the Leafs going to do it again? Kucherov's been playing well. The big thing, the thing that worries me about Tampa is Vasilevsky, 87 save percentage. Like, that's not like him, you know. And from what I've heard and read is that he is struggling with point shots, and especially on the blocker side. And so Tampa, it's just been a dogfight in front of the net. Tampa's been trying to keep that clean, and that's probably what's led to a lot of the fighting that you've seen. I mean, we had who was it? Stamkos and Tavares, or whoever, Stamkos and Matthews going at it one of the games. But Toronto and these teams are pretty much even when you look at their power plays and their penalty kills. I mean, like you said, it's high scoring. They're very evenly matched. I would say skill wise, Toronto probably has the big 4. I mean, they've got that dude, what's his face? Marner, 11 points. That's absurd. And then Samsonov has not been that great. He's 89%. And then Matthews has 4 goals. So I would never bet against the Lightning until they're out. Like, the last few years, like, it's just tough to bet against the Lightning. I don't know how you do it.
Especially in the playoffs. They
exactly.
Yeah. Well, which one of those teams, in your opinion, matches up better against Boston? If they were to face Boston in the next round, which one matches up better?
I would have to say, just because of recent history, it's got to be the Lightning. Vasilevsky is, again, I always go back to the goalie. I mean, you can see goalies carry these teams through the playoffs, and Tampa has enough talent to keep up with Boston, I think. So,
And they have
you
the
know,
experience and what they've done in the
exactly.
past couple of years.
Exactly. So until somebody knocks the Lightning out, I think what were they to win the cup? Was it 20-1 plus two?
At the beginning of the playoffs?
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Okay.
off the top of my head, I would say it's probably around there,
I think
but
it
I
was plus
didn't.
2000 or whatever it was.
Yeah, it's probably around plus 2000. I know right now, just to win the Eastern Conference, oh, I don't have that in front of me.
Mm.
Oh, never mind. Let me ask you this. With we just gave a rundown of the Eastern Conference.
Mm-hmm.
Out of the teams that are left, do you have a team and try to put your boys, like your love, your passion for the Rangers aside? Is there a team that you think could really just take the Eastern Conference in these last couple rounds?
I think it's I think it's up for a grab because, I mean, Carolina's dealing with injuries. You would think Boston, but they're getting everything that I think if Boston gets out of this round, like I said, I think that was the worst matchup they could have drawn. Honestly. I don't know what to make of the Devils. The Rangers have the talent, they have the goaltending, they have everything they need if they can just get out of this first round. But I don't trust the Devils. I don't trust. It's hard to say because I don't know what's going to happen with Tampa and Toronto. But if you were to get, like, who would you put? Boston would be the one. I don't think Carolina can make it with all their guys hurt and going through goalie struggles. I think it's either going to be Boston or it's going to be the winner of Tampa or Toronto. I think those. So we'll see. And
Yeah.
that's me right now. Now you ask me tonight, Rangers win, then I'm going to say the Rangers are winning the cup, and this. We're going to have to strike it from the record.
Okay, all right. We won't release this until we see what the result of that game is.
So I have a stat actually. So Boston, they were the ones that set the record for wins this year, right?
Yeah,
all-time record.
Yes.
So since 1980, which is all our lifetimes basically, only 10 teams that have led the league in wins have actually won the championship in hockey.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Well, that's the cool thing. That's what I was going to say. That's the cool thing about the NHL playoffs is it's anybody can win it. Yes. I mean, it doesn't matter. You just get in the playoffs and anything could happen at the end of the season. Where in the NBA, for example, NBA, a lot of years, it's a little bit different. We're getting into different territory now with the NBA, but for many years, it was just either the 1 seeds or the 2 seeds were going to win the championship. Yeah. But that's what's so fun about NHL playoffs is anybody can win it.
It's parity. I mean, it's just pandemonium across. And then to further that point, the President's Cup winners, I think 11 or 12 have not won the Stanley Cup, the last President's Cup, which is the most points in the NHL. So it goes right along with that. I mean, it's unbelievable.
And like you said, it's a defensive game. Like the game changes in the playoffs. It's completely different than the regular season.
Probably hard as to bet it because you don't know who's going to win.
And I think that's why with betting, you'd probably have to look for value. And after having this little conversation with you, I'm thinking Devils just because, not to rub it in your face with the Rangers.
Of course you are.
But
you
already said how they can adapt. They adapted mid-series against the Rangers, who the Rangers is, I think, a better team, but they learned to adapt. Then their road is easier. They're going to face Carolina, who has players that are out. And then so they have an easier road to get to the end. And who knows, they might not have to face Boston. I mean, it could be any one of those last 4 teams. And it just seems like they have more value.
Right.
We can get plus 450 where Carolina, Toronto, Boston, that they're all the favorites just to win the Eastern Conference. That's not to win the Stanley Cup.
Okay.
Just to win the Eastern Conference, the New Jersey is plus 450. Sounds like that's a good value play.
It really is, because if they beat the Rangers, that will change. That won't be as good a value the next round. I can promise you that. Right now, everybody's thinking the Rangers are still going to come back and win this thing. But if the Devils do win tonight or Game 7, whatever it may be, it probably won't be 450 going into next week. It'll probably be
Absolutely
much
not.
Yeah. So if you want to hammer that, that would sound like a good bet. Even though they're going to lose.
Do that.
What?
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move over to the Western Conference. Let's just go right up on the top. There's a Game 7, Colorado and Seattle.
Yes.
This series has been my favorite series because they're really going at each other, and it feels like it's been very even when you watch them play. What do you think about this series? Who's going to pull off this Game 7?
First of all, the Seattle crowd these are two of the best atmospheres in hockey. I mean, all the hockey arenas during the playoffs are phenomenal, but Colorado and Seattle, the first goal they scored whenever they were at their home game, holy moly, that place! I'm surprised the roof didn't blow off. It's now Colorado's been missing Gabe Landeskog, their captain. I can't remember for how long, but he hasn't been out there, so they're really relying on McKinnon, what's his name, Mikko Rantanen, and then Cale Makar. So they've got the three big guns, and they've got like one or two top heavy lines that have all that power. Whereas Seattle has four lines that are just, they look and play the exact same. They don't really have a lot of star power, so they just come at you in waves, right? Like they've got a couple of young guys like Matty Beniers, a young center that can play, that have some skill. But it's basically the top line of Colorado playing against these four waves from the Seattle Kraken, and they just play that grinding, get the puck in, we're going to go after you. You know, that does go deep in the playoffs or deep in series, but I don't know if it'll be enough to get them over the top against Colorado at home. All these games, like you said, have been phenomenal. The goalie for the Kraken, Grubauer, did play for the Avalanche, so he's actually having a pretty good series too. He's got 92 save percentage, so he's been playing pretty well. So this is a revenge series for him. And there for a while, McKinnon's playing well. Makar had been just disappeared for like 2 games, and then he got suspended. But I think around game 3 or 4 is when he started to pick it up. And if you've never watched the Avalanche play, that dude, him and Nathan McKinnon, oh man, can those dudes skate? So I would, if I was betting, I would bet on the Avalanche. You know, they have the star power.
Well, they are a big favorite. They're minus 220. So Seattle is probably like plus 190. Is that, you think that's probably right in what it should be? Or is there value on the Kraken?
I mean, nobody's going to bet on the Kraken to win in Colorado. Nobody. I mean, you think Makar and McKinnon and at home, but the Kraken, I mean, we've had what? How many OT games? All 6 of these games have been tight, like every single one of them. So, I mean, it really is a coin flip when you look at how the games have played out. I mean, yeah, Colorado's at home; they're going to be favored, and everybody's going to bet there's no way they lose at home. But when you look back at how they played, it's not like anybody's blown out anyone. So,
yeah, well, we'll see what happens in.
So no one's gonna bet on him. That means Scott probably is.
Yeah.
That's I'm the contrarian. That's kind of like that puts up my spidey senses. Maybe I'll go with the Kraken. I do know Kraken won game 1, right?
Yeah.
They won. I think they came out in Colorado and won game 1. And my ex-wife flew to that game. And
really?
To see Colorado play because her best friend is a Colorado Avalanche fan. And they went to the game. They lost. Then their plane got delayed because of an avalanche or something.
Seattle won 3-1.
Seattle won. Yeah. So I've become a Kraken fan. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, those jerseys are sick. The way that their stadium, I mean, it's pretty cool. Plus, they're an expansion team.
Yeah, it's their second season, right?
Yeah,
second season, and they made the playoffs, and they're going up against the big dog Colorado Avalanche,
defending champs.
The defending champs, and the winner of that series plays Dallas in the next. Who is Dallas? Dallas is, they have a pretty good defense, don't they?
Yeah,
they've got a dude, team or no?
They've got a dude named Heiskanen who's an absolute freak show. They have 3 really good young players: Rupe Hintz, and then Heiskanen, and then they've got Ben, and then they have Ottinger. Now, if you look back at the last 2 games, Ottinger, the goalie, that dude is. Last year in the playoffs, he was incredible. This year, he's incredible. I think the last 2 games they won like 4-1 and 4-0. Like he has just shut the door. Like that guy is unbelievable. I mean, they've got talent at each level. You know, they could make a run.
So if anybody faces up well against the Avalanche, it'd probably be Dallas.
Yeah, Dallas is they've got talent. They've got stars at each level. Just like the Avalanche. So they've got guys who've done this before. I mean, they've got, like I said, Heiskanen, and then they've got Sagan and Ben. They've got Rupe Hintz, and then they've got a goalie. So they've got dudes in waves, plus a goalie that's probably playing better than anybody in the playoffs right now.
That might be a good value bet going into that series. I would imagine the Avalanche are going to be favored, and there's going to be a lot of people betting on the Avalanche. So that could be a good bet.
Yes.
You might see that at You Bet Smart, that pick coming up for Dallas.
Yeah. Jake's robots love Jamie Benn.
Oh.
I swear, he's put out so many bets on Jamie Benn.
Yeah, not lately.
Yeah, but for a while there, it seemed like at least every other day it was like Jamie Benn over 0.5 points.
Yeah, sometimes I bought a Pax 1 player. But for the Devils game, we do have Dawson Mercer under 0.5 points.
And that's for today?
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody's scoring any points for the Devils. It's gonna be a shutout.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. You Bet Smart is backing the Rangers defense tonight.
Don't even get off the bus. But yeah, Ottinger is 93 save percent. Oh my gosh, dude, that guy's. I like watching goalies. So I talk a lot about goalies. But Ottinger is a dude that if you haven't watched, you need to watch that guy play.
AK, you mentioned that you played hockey when you were younger. Were you a goalie?
I was a goalie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So
goalies you just watch them. You watch their footwork and everything that they're doing.
Yes. You watch their tendencies, like Vasilevsky. He's struggling with point shots. He's a butterfly style goalie because he's so darn big, right? So what people, I'm sure they watch the tape. They pick out certain things like Vasilevsky's a super athletic goalie, but he's a butterfly. He's so big he can play the bottom of the net all over the place. So the way you beat him is up top. But I mean, you can't really do that when you're shooting the puck across, looking for tic-tac-toes, one-timers. You're not going to beat him because he's so quick across the net and so big. So how do you beat him? You move the puck back, change the angle, change the shot point, get people in front of him so he can't see it, and say, we know that he's more than likely better when he's in the butterfly position. So if we elevate pucks from far away, get people crossing in front of his face, we've got a better chance. Probably just like a model that you guys would just like, oh, well, it says that these tendencies are going to work better for us. So, you always wonder why people don't do that. It's just like watching the Rangers and this Schmid guy, this goalie. Sorry to bring it back, but it's like this dude hasn't seen any playoff shots his whole life ever. And you can't even get a shot through? Like, come on. Like, you should be firing it from everywhere. People crossing in front of him. Like, stop with the pass and just start shooting the puck. Anyways.
So I have a question, since you were a goalie, and I always wanted to ask someone that was a hockey goalie before. Why can't you just put like the fattest man on earth as a goalie? Just stick him in front of the goal.
I mean, you could. I don't know what is
quick though, right? Don't you have to be
agile and quick? He would block the whole goal, right?
Well, you could.
It's like 6 feet wide, right? But if he just went put his arms up, I don't. It's something that I always wanted to ask a goalie.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, you could.
Question, but
it's just I don't. Again, it matters. Could you get back into position? Like, I mean, can you? I don't know. The reflexes would have to be.
Would you have to
on point?
Move if you're that fat though?
Yeah, that's what I mean. He wouldn't have to move. He just stands there.
He can take
on his knees. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get as wide as he can. Okay,
it's the transition to be able to make the save, control the rebound, and then change position rapidly. If he's really good, then he's going to take the correct angle. When you're facing shots, you you want to view the ice in front of you as like as slices of pie to cut down the angles, right? So that's why you see these power plays cycle the puck so much. They want to get the goalie off of his angle. They want him moving all the time. That's why they cycle the puck all over the place, because they want the goalie moving.
They
so
want
that
the
his
goalie
position-
looking at all those different pies.
Right.
So
you
again,
want
a
him.
fat man would be probably the best.
There you go with pies, right? You're right. Yes, like literal pies. So, but yeah, it's
All right,
interesting.
Well, we got off track. Let's get back to the Western Conference.
Love it.
I don't know. Did you pick a guy? Let's just say I'm gonna say the Avalanche advance, since they're like a 68% chance that they're gonna advance. Avalanche, Dallas. Who do you like in that one?
Oh, Dallas.
Okay, that's
Dallas.
what I thought. There's good value there, I believe.
Yeah.
But let's move on to the other one. I think we did get your answer for that. So down on the bottom of the Western Conference bracket, we saw Vegas and Winnipeg. Yep. That was probably the most uneven matchup in the first round.
Yeah.
What happened with that one? Did Winnipeg have a chance?
They had some injuries, and then Hellebuck, their goalie, 88.6 save percentage. So he just wasn't on top of his game. Winnipeg won the first one. They dealt with some injuries throughout the series. But then Vegas, they got contributions from. They don't have the superstar like it used to be. Marchessault and Wild Bill Carlson, they were kind of their top guys. Then they brought over Mark Stone. Mark Stone's been really good. They brought over Pietrangelo, and then Jack Eichel has had 5 points. So I don't know that they have the top end superstars like a lot of these other teams. They just have a lot of good players. They went out and they got Pietrangelo, and I think there was another defenseman they added that were more. They got a puck handling defenseman, and then 2 more defensemen they could pair with these offensive defensemen to shore up their back end to limit all these wild coast to coast, breakouts from other teams. But Winnipeg, if Hellebuck wasn't playing that well, you can just forget it, because again, they don't have any superstars. They have Scheifele and Connor and some of these guys, but again, they dealt with injuries. It just when all of your guys from Vegas, they've got 8 points all the way down through like your starting roster, 8 points to 5 points. You're like, they're a very well balanced team, and Broussard is playing fairly well. He's got a 91% save percentage. So they just smoked him.
Sorry to cut you off, but it seems like that's a good. That always bodes well in the NHL playoffs when a team has waves. When like their first line or their third line, it doesn't matter. That you need fresh legs in the playoffs, like a Kraken. Like Kraken are playing well against the Avalanche. Vegas always seems to do good in the last couple of years in the playoffs. Maybe that helps. That's going to help out Vegas in this round coming up and throughout the playoffs.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, you're going to be playing so much hockey that you need contributions. I mean, that's why when you looked, I don't know who we were talking about who was getting contributions from all their lines. Was it Seattle? Like I think you mentioned
the Kraken.
Them. And you look down and like their top scorers, everybody has 5 points, like all the way down through like 18 players, and you're like, geez, Louise, no wonder they're doing what they're doing, is because they're just playing a team game. But then you have these other teams like the Oilers, who've got these 2 just absolute rocket superstars that just put up crazy points, and it's like they're fun to watch, but can the other team keep? Can the rest of their team keep up? But like you were saying, but Vegas, they're just solid. They've got good defense. Their goalie's playing well enough, and they've got enough scoring on their front lines to keep up with a Colorado, to keep up with a Edmonton. So we'll see. Winnipeg they ran out of steam. They don't really have too much offense, no top line superstars. So,
yeah, well, Vegas will have to play the Oilers, like you mentioned, in the next round if the Oilers close out the Kings. Do you think that's going to happen? Do you think the Oilers have that one down?
I think the Oilers are going to win that. I don't know if they'll win in LA, to be honest. I from what I've read, the Kings are going to start juggling some lines to kind of attack the Draisaitl and McDavid onslaught. But they've had 3 overtime games in this series. So you can tell that these teams, even though everybody wants to be like, well, the Oilers have it figured out, it's like 3 overtime games doesn't mean you have it figured out. I mean, they've LA, I mean, they've got this, what's that kid's name? I can't remember his name. Kempe. Kempe's balling. So I like Corpusalo too, the goalie. He's pretty good. But the real story is Edmonton. Now, the big story in this is Draisaitl. Draisaitl's got like, I don't know how many goals. I think he's got like 10 or 11 points. McDavid's got like 8 points. Kane, Evander Kane's playing well. And then I think Skinner's playing pretty well. But the big story with Edmonton, their power play. Their power play is 57%. That is stupid. That is stupid.
Wow.
It's amazing that the Kings are even keeping up with them, keeping pace with them.
I don't know how they are. Honestly, I've watched most of these games. I don't. It's like the Edmonton Oilers are so top heavy that whenever their studs are off the ice, that's when they get them. So.
Well,
Like
hopefully the Kings do make it a game 7. At You Bet Smart, we have a bet for the Kings tonight. +1. We got +1.5 on that one.
Yeah.
So hopefully the Kings, but we lost the one. We bet on the Kings in game 5 and lost that one. But I think the Kings are going to make it a game 7.
I think Corpusalo can play well enough. It's just you can't let Draisaitl and McDavid's. Now you can't stop those two, so they're going to score.
But let's say the Oilers face Vegas. What do you like in that matchup?
I would, if they can get out of the first round, I would go with the Oilers. I think it's just the first round's tough because everybody has the expectation and the pressure. The Leafs, the Edmontons, like all these teams that have been there the last few years, once you get out of the first round, you're like, okay, now we can get back to playing some hockey. But I think if Edmonton, I think the most likely outcome, if I was to put money on it, would be Dallas and Edmonton in the West. And if New Jersey wins, I would pick them and Boston to be
New Jersey and Boston.
Yeah.
And I like New Jersey with the value. Is there any value in Dallas, Edmonton? Just to let you know, Edmonton's +260, Dallas is +380. So you get more value with Dallas. Maybe that Dallas is the one to go.
I would, yes.
And I'm interested to see what Dallas, you could probably make a bet Dallas playing against the Devils, what that would be. That might be above +2,000.
Yeah.
Which might be an interesting bet. I always like to look at those ones.
Yep.
All right.
Dallas,
so I guess,
yeah.
AK, you kind of called Dallas, and let's say you pick the Devils, even though you went against I can't believe you did that. You picked the Devils against the Rangers.
I have to mix it up.
Got to mix it up.
Yep.
Who's going to win the whole thing? Who's going to win the Stanley Cup playoffs?
Well, the Rangers, obviously.
Okay. A good answer. That's the right answer.
Every year it's our year, man.
Place your bets for the New York Rangers now.
Put them in. They're down. You can get some value. Now, Minnesota, their superstars, Kaprizov, when they were playing down, I think he had 1 point. Yeah. Kaprizov had 1 point. Kirill, I don't know if you know who that guy is, but Kirill Kaprizov is supposed to be their stud. 1 point. That's
during the first round against Dallas. Oh yeah. Well, that's why I mentioned Dallas's defense. For whatever reason, I don't think it gets talked about a lot, but I feel like their defense is really solid and could step up in the playoffs.
Yeah, they got some studs back there, and the goalie can make up for a lot of mistakes. I'm telling you, right, that guy is an absolute freak show. He's a mutant back there. It's unbelievable.
Is that what you were when you played goalie?
Yeah, I never gave up a goal.
Nice. That's what I figured. You should be. Maybe the Rangers will give you a call.
See that mountain over there? You can throw a football clean over that mountain.
All right, AK.
Oh,
Well,
man.
thanks for coming on and talking NHL playoffs with us. This was a lot of fun.
Oh man, I love hockey. I'm so glad to be on and talking hockey. I could watch and talk hockey all day long. So
Us too.
Yeah,
yes.
I've been listening to your show a lot lately, and I just want to say it's really addicting. I love what you guys are doing.
Appreciate that. I listen to all like I said, the shows you guys have done the past. I mean, y'all got some good stuff, man. It's a lot of fun to listen to. That guy on the last episode was that was an incredible interview.
Oh yeah.
So y'all got good stuff. You follow these people.
Likewise.
Yeah, like you
Come
got
on.
follow the Millie Goats too.
Well, AK, how can we find you? How can people follow you guys?
Okay, so we are on Twitter at Millie Goats. We're on Instagram at the Millie Goats. We're on Rumble and YouTube, the Millie Goats. Our website blog is up. We've been saying that. It took us about 6 months to get it up. Technical difficulties, of course. The milliegoats.godaddysites.com. So that's where you can find us and our podcast on Apple, Spotify, iTunes, Amazon, anywhere you find your podcasts. We're starting a live show this Sunday on Sunday nights where we give our version of a recap, which could be anything from Prime Rib Day all the way to which mock draft do we like the least? So,
All right. Well, AK, the Millie Goats podcast. Everybody listen to that podcast. AK, thanks for coming on.
Thank
man,
you.
thanks for having me, guys. Go Rangers.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah.